Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode. It is episode number 262 on May the 21st, 2024. Hope everybody had a good week. Hope everybody in Canada had a good long weekend. We just came off of that. And yeah, I guess the Americans have a long weekend coming up next weekend. So yeah, lots of things going on. 'Tis the unofficial start of summer, and I think we're all looking forward to that. At least those of us here in the Northern Hemisphere. Okay, so let's take a look at what I've been working on lately. Well, it is the Churchill block that we have been doing the sew along with, Stephanie of Stephanie Stitches and myself. And although that sew along is for one block only, you can see I have made 9 and I have them all sewn together. And yeah, later this week I'm going to work on adding some borders to this, and that block becomes a quilt. However, I had some little problems, and this show would not be called the Idiot Quilter unless I pointed the problems out to you. Now, if you have been following along with the sew along, you will know that some of the dimensions did not come out exactly as they were supposed to. And both Stephanie and I had a little problem with that. And we tried to figure out why that would be. And we have not yet come up with actual reason for it. It's not out by a lot, but it's enough that well, here's what happened with me. So I put these blocks together, and you'll notice in here, the squares, all 4 of those squares, which are the secondary pattern that you get when you put the blocks together, are a little off. Now, I can't really fix those. I tried, and it just, if I fixed those and got those, then parts over here would have been out of alignment. So I opted to do what you see here right now. And when you're looking at it up close and you're really studying it, you will notice them. But when you look at it from, a reasonable distance, because there's so much going on, you really don't see those misaligned intersections. However, I do, and it drives me mental. But there is nothing I can do short of remaking the blocks. And as I made more of the blocks, the dimensions started to become a little bit more well, they still did not come out exactly what it said in the pattern they should, but they became more consistent. So, yeah, but I'm not going to. I am tired of doing this block, I can tell you that. Excuse me. It's a lovely block, and it isn't that complicated, but there are a lot of pieces in putting this together, and I just found it, when you're making this many of them, a little bit tedious. I'm the kind of guy that needs a little variety when I'm making a quilt to keep my interest. But anyways, it is done. And as they say, those little oopas there will just quilt out. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I've got to figure out what I'm going to do for borders, how many borders I'm going to put on it. Right now I'm thinking I may do a thin white border, one that's the same as the background fabric, all the way around, just to have the quilt top float, and then add maybe a couple of borders, a little bigger border than the white border, then a little bigger than that border, out of possibly the blue, maybe either the 2 blues or a purple and a blue. I don't know what. I have lots of possibilities here. So, excuse me for a minute. That's better. I had to clear my throat. It seems like every morning when I start to do a recording, I get this frog in my throat. And I don't know if it's a leftover from COVID or if it's just the spring air or the summerish air coming through the house right now. I don't know what it is, but every morning it's the same. So anyways, let's hope my voice holds up here and carry on. So that's what I've been up to. And let's see. Yeah, okay, so on Wednesday, which is tomorrow at the time of recording of this, so that'll be May the 22nd, we have our weekly sewing with Stephanie and Stephen. The link for that is in the show notes below, and I think you pretty much know the routine, most of you, and if you're new, join us. We'd love to have you. We're a really friendly and supportive group, and you just bring whatever you want to work on, and come when you want to, leave when you want to. Usually open up the doors at 9 a.m. and we're usually finished around 4 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, again, I thought I got rid of it. It's coming back. Okay, so Tabletastic, which is what the Churchill block is. Actually, Tabletastic is Doug Lico's book about making all kinds of really nice table runners. And that's where we found this block, the Churchill block. And as you know, if you're following along for the sew along, we pre-record the sessions between Stephanie and myself. And I've been posting them every Thursday. So you will find session 2, last week's, up already on my site. They're on my site. And the next one will go up this coming Thursday. And we're getting close to, I think there's only going to be maybe 2 more videos, so 2 more weeks. And we have the block done. And then you are free to do whatever you want to do with the block. Okay, and speaking of Stephanie as well, Stephanie had a special, oops, I should switch over to me. Yeah, there we go. You'd probably rather look at the quilt. Yeah, but anyways, Stephanie had a special live announcement last Friday night. I was on there and Shannon of Slay Arts was on there, and the announcement was that Stephanie's retreat next year in April in Berlin, I was going to say Berlin, Germany. In Berlin, Ohio, which is Amish country, she has invited Shannon and myself to teach. And I was just thrilled and scared. I have never taught quilting. I mean, I was a teacher for 31 years, but I taught English and drama and media studies. So this will be a little bit different. And also I taught high school students, not adults. But anyways, I'm thrilled to be asked. And of course, Shannon and I, and Stephanie too, we've all developed original patterns that you will not see until the retreat. For those of you that are going to the retreat, the rest of you, well, you're kind of left out in the cold, so to speak, until after the retreat is over. And then we will probably reveal those patterns and make them available to you. Mine is done. I've made my sample quilt. I am now at the stage where I'm going to make a second quilt, a little bigger. The one I designed is a lap. I think I'm going to go a little bit bigger. And just to test out my own instructions and make some refinements if need be. And there probably will be a need be. And then I'll send that pattern to Stephanie, who will use her very skilled eye to go over it and make any suggestions. And yeah, so, and I'm thinking of making it the second one in Australian fabrics, because I think the pattern will lend itself very nicely to Australian fabrics too. And it will be bigger. And I'll probably put the instructions, include in the instructions in the pattern, ones for making it a little bigger than a lap size. We'll see. So this is still under development. And I know I have I have 11 months, I guess, to get this done. But I like to have everything done and ready months and months ahead of anything, because I have other things to do as well. And I do not like to leave things to the last minute. So let's see. What else is coming up? Oh, yes. Pop-Up Sew Day. Yes, yay. Pop-Up Sew Day this coming Saturday, May the 25th, starting at 8 a.m., running until 5 p.m. Eastern Time. It's a come and go, so you don't have to be there at 8 a.m. You don't have to be there right to the bitter end. You can come and go as you please, work on whatever you want. It's always a good time, always lots of fun. It is a Zoom event. It is not a YouTube Live. So you will find a link for it, the Zoom link for it, in the show notes below. And those of you on my mailing list, I sent it out to you directly yesterday via email, as I just said. So yeah, always look forward to it. Now, I know some of you are going to be a little disappointed. Walter will not be there. And one reason why I'm having it on the 25th. Now, I do realize that's Memorial Weekend for Americans. It's your long weekend. And so, of course, that means some of you probably have plans, and that's fine. But I also know there's lots of people who don't have any plans for the long weekend. I would be one of those people. I was one of those people this past last weekend for us Canadians. So, anyways, it's there for you. As I said, if you can't stay for the whole thing, that's okay. Come for an hour or two, or a couple of hours, or half a day, whatever works into your schedule. It is not a problem. For anybody that's never been to one of my pop-up sew days, it's very informal. We do ask, it's the royal we. I do ask that you have a camera turned on. Now, I know some people have a little problem with that in terms of the technology and getting it up and operating. We can help you out. Those of us that are on the pop-up sew day, if you are one of those people having problems with that. But the reason I ask that you have a camera on is not to pry into your personal life. Make sure you have clothes on. That is a requirement as well. And the reason being, it's a security issue. We need a face with a name. Okay? And please, when you sign in, please use your full name, first name and last name. Now, if you're new to Zoom or you're not sure how to make that alteration, don't despair. I'll help you out with that when I let you in. Okay? So that's okay. Don't worry about it. This is not like a retreat, and this is for the benefit of those who have never been to a pop-up sew day. This is not a retreat. This is just an informal sewing day with friends. And so there aren't any prizes, sorry. There aren't any guest speakers, sorry. It's very much like Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen kind of thing on Wednesday, except a little longer, that's all. Okay, so as I said, the link for the pop-up sew day is in the show notes below, and it's already been sent out to those of you on my mailing list. And speaking of my mailing list, if you'd like to be on it, and don't worry, I'm not a business, so I don't send you out anything. The only time I send you out something via the mailing list is for pop-up sew day or for the spring or fall retreat. So you're not going to be inundated with all kinds of useless email from me. Don't do that. I hate that when I get that kind of stuff, so I'm not inflicting that pain on anybody else. But if you want to be on it, all you have to do is go into my show notes. You'll find a link to one of the tabs for YouTube, for the channel, and you'll find my email address. Just send me a note by email. Say, please put me on your mailing list and have both your first and last name there, and I will put you on the mailing list. It's that easy. Yeah. Okay. So that takes me to things to show you, and I did buy some fabric online. I actually bought it from Kawartha Quilting. Every week they put up a Facebook live kind of thing, and they show you what's new in their store. And I saw these and I had to have them. This is backing fabric. It is wide back, and I thought this was a fantastic fantastic colors and fantastic design as well. So I ordered 3 meters of one and 3 meters of the other, total is 6 meters. It is not particularly cheap. In fact, I expected it actually, though, to be a little bit more expensive because Kawartha Quilting's prices on their fabric are a little bit more on the high end. But these were about $33.99, I think, a meter. So yes, it is pricey, but backing fabric, that's about the average price for backing fabric these days. And it is Benartex as well. And Benartex, I like Benartex fabrics. However, they're not that easy to get or not that readily available in my area anyway. So, if I see some come in and, I like the pattern on them, then I immediately purchase them. So anyways, I've got those, and that's great. So that's all I've really bought in this past week. I've slowed down a lot in the last 6 months or so on my fabric buying. I have a lot of fabric. I am trying to, shop my stash. But to be honest, when I go into quilt stores anywhere, I'm not seeing anything that's grabbing me. I'm not seeing anything that's a must-have. The backing fabric I just showed you was a must-have. When I saw that, I went, yeah, this is going to cost me, but I love it. But that's not happening very often anymore. I don't know if it's because I have so much fabric, or what, or just the stuff that's coming out, the designer stuff, it just seems like it's the same old to me. Now, having said that, there is a online store that I'm reviewing this week where I saw some really interesting stuff, and I'm thinking of ordering from them because there's some pieces there that I had not seen before and I really like. But that's later on in today's episode. Now, I'm going to warn you about something right now. This episode is going to be a little bit lengthy because I have a couple of videos that I'm going to insert in here today, which will make this a little longer. So, I know some of you enjoy sewing to my lovely voice. Yeah. So, enjoy that. Or I've had a few people say they like to have coffee with me. Well, thank you. Even though we can't see each other, like at the same time, that's kind of nice. That's a bit flattering. So yeah, you'll maybe get in 2 cups of coffee today. All right, I digress, as I often do. Let us talk about arrow sewing chairs. Now, some time ago, well, I think it's been about 3 years or so, I bought an arrow sewing chair. And they are expensive. At the time, I think it cost me around $400. I just went to their website, their Canadian website, and those suckers are over $600 now. Wow. I'm going to tell you something right now. I do not recommend you buy an arrow sewing chair. Now you're going to say, what? Wait, you've got one. And if some of you with good memories will know, I sung the praises of that chair. I still like the chair. I don't like it $600 worth though. Even at $400, it's a bit pricey. It's comfortable. It fits me. I'm a short person, so it doesn't cut into my legs, the edge of it. And it's been fine until the weekend. I use that. Walter sits on that chair when we do Stephen and Walter live. I pull the chairs over by the computer. He's sitting in that one. He looked down at it. He goes, have you noticed this? There's a big hole in it, right in the edge. Well, a hole as in the fabric had worn through. Now, yes, wear and tear on a sewing chair. Yeah, I think that just rhymed. You would maybe expect it to show some wear, but to go right through. And of course, if you examine what they covered the seat with, it is just quilting cotton. Okay? It's not upholstery fabric. You don't think about that when you buy the chair, okay, at first. So I'm a little ticked off about that. Now, I did recover it, and I just recovered it in quilting cotton. Again, I maybe should have waited and gone out and got some upholstery fabric, and I may have to do that eventually anyways, but for now, this will suffice. But at the price I paid, I would have expected this chair, this cover, to hold up a lot better. And that makes me question the quality of Arrow products. I know Arrow Products is affiliated. I think they're owned by Janome. That is a problem, okay? Because if you have a problem with a product from Janome, you can't go to Janome directly. They tell you constantly, see your dealer, see your dealer. I bought the chair from Shirley at Ultimate Sewing, but this is not her problem. She didn't manufacture the chair. I've had the chair for 3 years, so if it has any kind of warranty on it, that's long gone, I'm pretty sure. As most manufacturers have no more than a year's warranty on most products. So, as I said, I recovered it, and I have written a very strongly worded letter to the Arrow people. I don't know if I'm going to get an answer back or not. We will see, but I will read to you. Well, it's going to be a long episode. Oh no, that's not the letter. Anyways, I'll keep you apprised with it. In the meantime, here's a little video of what I'm talking about and what the chair looks like now with my recovery. Okay, so I'm a little pissed off about this. This is my sewing chair. This is an Aero chair. They're very expensive, but they're very, very nice. Best chair I've ever had for sewing. I love it a lot, but I have a problem. Just discovered this. I've had this chair about 3 years, maybe a little longer, and of course I use it every day. So yeah, you expect a little bit of wear and tear, but this is what I didn't expect. I didn't expect the cover on the seat to wear through. That's the foam right there. So there's a hole, and you can see how it's worn. So it means I'm going to have to take this off, which is easy enough to do, and recover it. And yeah, I can do that. But the point is, I paid a lot of money, over $400 for this chair. I expected it to last a little longer. But this is only quilting cotton that they put on it. And I didn't really think about it at the time, but quilting cotton is not going to stand up. They should know that. It needs to be upholstery material. And I don't know if I have any upholstery material laying around here. I may have. I have to search today and see. But I am going to write a letter to the Aero company, and I'm going to tell them I love their product. I think it's great, the chair. But here's what the problem is with the covering. And they might want to rethink in the future putting something more substantial on for the seat where most of the wear and tear is going to happen because, you know, when you spend that kind of money, you want something to last. We'll see. I'll keep you up to date on if I get a reply back from the company or not. Okay, so I recovered the chair. I just left the old covering on it, didn't pull it off. Figured that would give extra padding and extra strength. And I happened to have picked up this fabric from Ultimate Sewing about a week ago, just because I thought it was pretty and I didn't have any real plans for it. And I thought, well, I'm not going to recover the back of the chair, but it has a lot of black, so I thought this would, and has black and red in it, and I thought this would go very nicely with it. So there we go. I have recovered my chair, and it looks great, and we'll see how long this lasts. But in the meantime, I'm writing a nasty letter to the Aero Chair Company. So just when you think most of your problems are solved, and they always come in threes. So the second problem, my Accuquilt. Yeah, okay. So if those of you who've been with me for a while, you know that back 6 months ago, a year ago, or less, it's been less than a year, I think, I had a problem with my Accuquilt Go Big. That's the electric machine. It wouldn't go. And the problem was the adapter plug hole, and it wasn't seated properly. It broke off inside, cheaply made, blah, 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 blah. Zach at Kawartha Quilting fixed my problem for me. And I can't say too much about Kawartha Quilting's customer service because it is A1. And so Zach fixed it. Well, I got it out the other day, set it up, and I use it a lot, as you well know. Push the on button, nothing happened. Nobody's home. No light on. No power going into it. I thought, well, what's going on? So I unplugged it from the machine part, plugged it back in. Nope, no power. Checked the outlet. Tried it in several different outlets. Nope, that's not the problem. Looked at the power brick. There's a light on in the power brick when you plug it in. So there's power going into it, but still nothing. I took a look at the problem that we had originally. I wiggled things around. I took a closer look. Everything is fine. Unknown to me until the next day, while I was sleeping peacefully in my bed, Walter took it apart. He opened it up and took a look inside. He said, no, everything looks okay. So, no idea why this is not working. So I sent a note off to Zach. I am pissed off with the quality of Accuquilt. You know, here I'm going to sound like a hypocrite. Here we are on So Chatty, Walter and I, doing a whole series on the Accuquilt system. I'm singing its praises. And I do believe in the company in that way and everything. It's just unfortunate that the design of the electric machine is such that you have problems. Luckily, I have a manual machine with a crank. However, my biggest dies, not that I use them that often, won't work in that machine. I need the Go Big machine in order to use those dies. And you know I have a lot of money tied up in all of this, right? So that also irks me. So I wrote to Zach, told him what my problem was, told him I'm pissed off, reassured him that this has nothing to do with him. It's just that he's the authorized dealer. And so I'm looking for his guidance in what to do. Now, I wrote that letter on Sunday. I think it's Sunday it was. Of course, Kawartha Quilting was closed and do not open until today. So I'll wait and give a few days to see, what I hear from Zach, and we'll go from there. But I'm really ticked off at that. And I'm ticked off at it as well because this is like the third power problem I have had with that machine, which says to me, Accuquilt, you've got a problem in your manufacturing. I handle my machine with kid gloves. I do not abuse my machine. I'm very gentle with it and the whole bit. Yes, I use it a lot, but that's what it's meant for. Okay, so anyways, we'll see what happens. I'll keep you up to date on that one as well. Okay, so you know that I signed up for an online course called Sew Doc Academy is the website, and I told you all about that, about learning how to deep clean and do minor repairs to your sewing machine. I have finished the course. It is excellent. I highly recommend it for anybody that might be interested in this. Although it may seem a little expensive, it's not that bad. I got it on sale. Regular price is, well, it was about 50% off when I bought the course that I did. But I think they have a sale all the time or frequently. So if you don't want to pay the full price, you can wait for that. You will get your money back in saving. If you're somebody who takes your sewing machine in once a year to have it deep cleaned and that kind of thing, you will save money on this, because believe me, deep cleaning your sewing machine is not difficult, okay, after you've taken this course. And so I decided that I would do it on my travel machine. Now, I didn't expect my travel machine to be too gunked up with anything, but it has not been in. I don't know if I've ever taken that machine in for servicing since I've owned it, and I've owned that machine for 4 years, something like that. I don't know. I can't remember. Time escapes me. It's just a concept. But and so I didn't expect to find a lot inside it, but I want to try it first before I go to the big daddy, and that's the M7. But the M7, basically, you open it up pretty much the same way as you open up the Skyline S7. So, yeah, I will get to it eventually. Biggest problem I have is, I use the M7 every day. So I do expect a lot of crap in there in that machine. But I don't think I don't want to blow this. You know what I mean? I'm a little hesitant, but I got through with the Skyline, no problem. So anyways, I'm going to show you what's involved. Now, this is where you're going to want to grab your second cup of coffee, because this video is a little bit lengthy in here. And this whole thing today is a little bit lengthy. So if you're still with me, thanks. Okay, I'm going to put no more ado here. I'm going to put in the video of me cleaning the Skyline S7. So today I'm attempting to take apart or open up my Skyline 7. Now, I just finished the course on from the Sewing Doc Academy that I paid for, and so I'm attempting to open this up to give it a good cleaning. Now, I don't expect that I'm going to find much inside of this. I ran into a little problem. I was not to remove the front or the back covers, and I haven't done that, and it told me to loosen off 2 screws that are on the bottom of this machine. I'll show you what we're talking about. Down in here. But they said those 2 big holes by the little leg things, supposed to loosen those. But I discovered to get the cover off the side, I also had to loosen 2 other screws that were actually on this side cover. right in there. And that pulled it off okay. All right, so far so good. And again, I'm not to remove the front or the back covers, just this side cover, and then there's more stages. And I have the diagram here, and yes, it does say Janome S9 and this is a Janome S7, but she says it's exactly the same for either model. Okay, so we'll carry on. Okay, so the next instruction is, now that the side cover's off, it says, on the needle bar side of the machine, locate the screw under the handle, remove the screw, be sure to label it so you'll remember where it is. Okay, and there's a diagram here. We're talking about up here on the top, and she says the screw, needle side of the machine, locate the screw under the handle. So there's supposed to be a screw under the handle. And yes, she shows that. And she says, remove the screw and be sure to label it so you'll remember where it goes. Okay. So there is a screw right down in here. Okay, I've taken that screw out. Now I'm going to label it on the diagram. This is going to be screw number 2 because I already have a number 1 and needle bar screw number 2, and I'm putting it on a piece of paper. And I'm taking some painter's tape and I'm sticking the screws down to this piece of paper where I have labeled what these are for. So this is what I'm doing right here. So you see I've got 2 screws there, 1 and 2, and I've labeled it on the diagrams she has in this as well to keep track of it. Okay. So, next one. Next you'll need to remove the flange, which is the light gray plastic piece in the bobbin winder. This piece is delicate and will break easily, so use caution. The key is to first try removing it with just your fingers. You want to apply even upward motion to try and slide it off the post. If needed, you can use 2 screwdriver shafts to slide under the flange and lift them both so that you're applying even pressure on 2 sides of the flange. If you just try to pry or lift on one side, it could easily snap off. Well, what she's talking about is up here, the bobbin winder and the flange that's in here. And she says just kind of pull it up. There. Well, that came off easy enough. Put that, I've got a little magnetic tray here with parts in it. Okay, so I've done that. Once the flange is removed, remove the 2 set screws from the top cover shown here. Okay, so she's showing one of the screws here and one of the screws right here. No, there is not a screw there. I've got the wrong screws. Move the thread. Maybe it's underneath. Yes, it's here underneath the horizontal bobbin holder. Okay, so just double check this. And she says to remove them. Okay. This one's kind of stiff. I think I may have to get a different screwdriver for that one. Same with this one. Okay, that one I think I've got. Yep. I should really magnetize my screwdrivers. And I may spend a minute here doing that. This is very awkward. That thing probably comes out, but she doesn't say to remove it. The bobbin holder, or not bobbin holder, the thread holder. Here we go. Okay, I've got that one loosened off. And this one's coming now too. This machine I have never taken in since I bought it for servicing. I don't think I have. I have to look in my records and see if I have. Okay, so this screw I'm going to leave up here on the top, and I'm going to tape it down. so I don't lose it. This is something she recommends in the course. Okay, so there's one. This one now I have to get out of this hole. I think I'm going to have to magnetize my screwdrivers. I'll be back. Okay, I found the little magnetizer. I bought this, get it in the shot here. I bought this from Lee Valley for Walter one Christmas. I don't know if he's ever used it. And the idea is you just put your screwdriver inside, and I guess you run it up and down. And let's see, do I have something that's magnetic? Yeah, that seems to do it. I'll do this one as well. Just putting the screwdriver in there. I'm sorry, this is the most awkward way to try to film this. Okay, they've got a bit of a thing here, so let's see if this will... Ah, that works. See, look at that. Pretty good. Okay, this one is going there, so I'm going to tape it down. Okay, those screws are out. Okay, flip over the page. Now, it says, open the needle bar cover. Close the top cover and raise the hand. Open the needle bar cover. Okay, I don't know what the needle bar cover is. Oh, needle bar cover. Okay, that must be the needle bar cover. Okay, right here. All right. That's open. Close the top cover. Raise the handle. Pull the top cover toward you to remove it as shown to the left. I don't know what she means. To remove it as shown left, you may need to wiggle and try different positions to slide the top cover out. This is not a good picture. Top cover, she said, oh, close the top cover and raise the handle. Pull the top cover towards you to remove it as shown left. Okay, this is the top cover. Oh, okay. Something's holding it in. There's another screw over here, but she didn't say to remove that screw. Okay, close the top cover, raise the handle, pull the top cover towards you to remove it as shown to the left. Oh, wait. Okay, there we go. All right, that came off. Okay, let's put that down there. Okay, gently turn the machine on its back. Remove the 4 set screws from the bottom shown to the right. Be sure to label them or use a system to know where they go. Tape them to the bottom, etc. Remove the machine base. Okay. Okay, so it says on the diagram, I'm down here right now, okay, 4 screws. Okay, 2 of them have been loosened and the one. All right, so these are the screws. There's one. There's 2. The little magnetizing the screwdriver really works. Okay. And then there's this one. and then the one below here. This one's a little awkward because of, okay. There it is. Okay. So I'm going to tape these to the bottom of this. There's one. Two. I don't think you can see what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Okay. I think you almost need a little box with each of these screws named on the little box. And then do the diagram. Maybe there's got to be another way, but I'll figure that out. This is going to have to work for now. Okay, that's the bottom. Let's put that to the side. So we've done that. We're opened up inside. And right now I'm looking in here and I'm seeing nothing as far as dirt is concerned. So remove the 4 set screws from the bottom shown to the right. Be sure to label them or use a system to know where they go. Remove the base cover. So she's showing 4 screws in this area here. Now one of these screws, okay, no, don't get them mixed up with the feet. Okay, so okay, there's one down here. It's out of my way. Okay. Now I think I better put these on my piece of paper. These are base cover screws. So base cover screws. Going to number these as number 3. And my pen just ran out. That figures. Okay, so these I'm going to mark as left, so paranoid I'm going to lose screws. Okay, and then the right side, and this is base cover, I better mark on here number 3. Okay, 1, 2, so are these the small screws or the big screws? There's 2 big screws. I have a feeling they're the small screws because they look exactly the same as those other ones. Yeah, I would say that's what these are. There's one. Yeah, I see what's happening. Okay, 2. So these are the right screws. Okay, let's get this out of our way. Okay, No, it's not the screws in the rubber pads you're removing, it's the small screws to the left of them. Yeah, okay, I figured that out. With the base cover off, remove the 2 set screws on the bed cover, then remove the bed cover. So that, there's a little piece of thread fell out. Okay, let's put that over there. And now, remove the 2 set screws on the bed cover, then remove the bed. The 2 set screws. So, okay, show one there and one here. Okay. One. 2. Okay, got to put these on a piece of paper too. And these are going to be bed cover, number 4 screws, bed cover, number 4. These 2 are on here. Take a piece of tape. Okay, let's put that in a safe spot. All right, this will give you access to all parts of the machine for routine maintenance. Feel free to send clear pictures of the inside, and that's it. No. Okay. So that comes off. That's the bed cover. Oh, there's some gunk in here. Okay, we'll clean that out in a minute. Okay. Next thing says, and I put a staple on it. Oh, okay, that's how to put it all back together. Okay, at this point, I've watched the other videos. This is where you check it out and do a little cleaning. I may have to get my, let's see if I can get you in here. I really can't get you in here. Sorry for the movement. Okay, can you see? Okay, this is what we're working with. This is the bottom of the machine on its side. Now there's a little bit of fuzz in here. There's some stuff right there. So I'm going to get my compressor. Oh, yeah, I just blew my screws across the room. Glad I had them nailed down. Okay, there was stuff that came out of here, not a lot. I'm just going to try to gather it up so you can get an idea of how much fuzz I got out of here. I'll just put my hand, there's not a lot. See in my hand? That's not a lot. But I didn't anticipate I would have a lot. So, I'm just going to blow it around in here. Okay, so I'm going to take my flashlight and I'm just going to shine it okay, if I can find my flashlight. There we go. And let's just inspect the inside of this and see if there's anything gunked up. Looks pretty clean in here. I'm looking for loose threads that may have wound around different parts. I'm not really seeing anything. Looking at the belts on this side, I know you can't see what I'm looking at right now, but sorry about that. Okay. And up here, I think I'm going to set this upright in a moment. Actually, what I think I'll do is I'm going to switch videos so that you can see what I'm looking at. So here we go. I've got the bottom off, and I just used my little air compressor. That's what she recommends. She actually recommends a real air compressor, which we have one, but it's in the other room, and well, it's just can't get it in here. But the other one is pretty good. I use it all the time for cleaning my machines. But you see here, this looks very, very clean. And if I can shine a light on here, give me a second. Okay, so I've set the machine up, and I'm looking down here, and I don't see anything in there at all. But what I will do while I'm here, oops, sorry, is I will give it a little bit of a compressed air blow. Okay, the machine looks really, really clean, which I suspected that it would be. I'm a little concerned about this here. There's some gunk here. I'm going to clean that off with a little rubbing alcohol, and I'll be back. Now, I just wiped down all the cover pieces, and there was a little bit of gunk on this one, but I got that off, and that's the one that sits under here. And probably when I've oiled this before, when I've done my usual general maintenance to the machine, probably some of the oil leaked down in there. And that's okay, it cleaned up really well, and I used a little rubbing alcohol on a Q-tip to get into spots. In here, I'm just looking to see, and I'm sorry, the focus is not very good. I've put a little drop of oil on the wick, which I do on a regular basis when I clean the machine without taking anything off. And I'm just looking in here to see if there's any debris, and I blew this all out, and I don't see anything. And I'm looking at the hook just to see if the hook is free of anything. And I think it looks pretty good. I think we're okay. So I've cleaned everything. There was very little to clean on this machine. Again, I suspected that that would be the case, and it was. Now I have to put it all back together. And she does give you instructions, and basically you do it in reverse order. But I'm going to go through those instructions. Wish me luck. So I've got the machine all back together again. That went together very easily, but some tips. Taking the screws, putting them onto the parts, taping them to the parts they're related to, making a note of that as well is a really good idea because it's very easy to get mixed up. The side cover went on surprisingly easy. Just have to remember you don't force it. There's little tabs in there. You just have to line them up. There were a couple of set screws on the bottom that needed to be loosened off again because I tightened them up when I put the bottom plate on. And I just loosened those off and it slid right in, tightened it up. All is fine. I put in a brand new needle. I've cleaned down the whole outside of it with a little rubbing alcohol just to get any greasy fingerprints off it, things like that. I did not have to do any greasing inside. Everything looked really good. Which again I suspected because this machine does not get used very often. It's my travel machine. And yeah, so I've got the new needle in, I've got it threaded. We're going to see if this sucker sews. Fingers crossed. Sounds good. And the stitching on the front and on the back looks absolutely perfect. So there you go. My first machine, I've serviced it. It was easy to do. The real challenge is going to be this beast, the M7. But basically you do the same thing according to what Andy at SewDoc Academy tells me. So yeah, that'll be the next project for another day. Okay, we have returned to our regularly scheduled program now, so let's move along quickly, shall we? So let's go to subscribers quilt, rented lips. Let's go to the subscribers quilt of the week, and this comes from K High. This week's quilt from a subscriber comes from K High, and K writes, I decided to use my serger to make the attached jelly roll race quilt. I made my decision because I want to be sure that my seams would hold together. It's a king-size quilt. I quilted it myself and did not have any problem gliding my millie over the 4-thread overlock seams. You can't see any evidence on the finished quilt that the seams were serged. I did sew the 2.5 strips end to end on the bias with my regular sewing machine, only sewing the mile-long strips, laugh out loud, with the serger, and yes, I would do it again. Well, Kay, you have inspired me to possibly try something like this using my serger as well. I have to admit I had hesitation about the whole idea, and I've seen videos about making a quilt with your serger, but it intrigues me, but at the same time I think, well, why? But having seen your quilt, the picture that you sent, I am quite impressed. So thank you for sending that to us, and I'm sure a lot of other people might be inspired to try something similar with their serger. And that takes me to YouTube of the week. But just before we do, if you've got something you want me to feature here on the episode, please send me one picture and a little blurb, 50 words or less, and I'll be happy to do that. Okay, so this week's YouTube video is entitled The Easiest Quilting Machine Method Ever. And this was put out by the Opinionated Quilter. Love that lady. If you've never seen her videos or her channel, you need to go to it. She's a little rough around the edges, but she's very matter of fact, and she says what she means, and I think that's refreshing. This week's video clip of the week comes from someone that is no stranger to anybody that's been on my channel for a while, because I have talked about this lady before, and it's the Opinionated Quilter, and I just love her. I love the things that she has to say about, everything that she finds out there that she does. And this video is really interesting because she talks about the easiest quilting machine method ever. And although this is something she discovered at one of the quilt shows she went to, it does present a very interesting alternative to doing free motion quilting on your domestic machine. So if you struggle with that, this might be a method for you. It does involve using a stencil, but in a little different way than what you might think. And the end result is beautiful. And none of those jaggy little stops and starts you might make if you were free motion quilting. So if you're interested in this technique, I strongly suggest you take a look at this video and maybe explore this for yourself. It might be a great alternative to what you're already doing. So that takes me to future projects. This one comes from an Accuquilt book, Quilt in a Day by Accuquilt and Eleanor Burns, and it's called Meet Me at the Cottage. This week's future project comes from the book Quilt in a Day, Go Cube. It's by Eleanor Burns and Accuquilt, more by Accuquilt than Eleanor Burns. And this is a sampler quilt, and it uses several of the dies from the Accuquilt company, which, I love Accuquilt, and I love sampler quilts too as well. Why do I like sampler quilts? Because they're a variety. You're not making the same block over and over again. However, having said that, it is a bit of a challenge because you're making, well, in this case, 35 6-inch sampler blocks. But the end result, I think, would be really worth it. Now, this is one I'm probably not going to get to anytime soon, but it's on my things to do list. So if you're interested in sampler quilts and you've got an Accuquilt system, and even if you don't have an Accuquilt system, this book is great. Again, called Quilt in a Day, and I think you can get it from the Accuquilt website. May even be able to get it on Amazon as well. So yeah, that's a future project, and I can't wait to do it sometime. So, online quilt store. This one is one that's out in Western Canada, and it's called Willow Creek Quilts, and I'm thinking I should order some stuff from them. This week's online quilt store is one called Willow Creek Quilts, which is in a little place called Claire's Home. Yes, Claire's Home in Alberta. So let's take a look at their front page, shall we? Very colorful, very nicely laid out, showing some of their fabrics that they have in stock and on display in their store. They have a look at some of their newest fabrics. I'm looking here at the price. It looks like it ranges from $29.99 to $21.90 a meter, and it is in meters, so that is good, because I think Canadian stores should be in meters, because that's what we do. They have, say, 15% off our pick of the week product. Okay. And they've got looks like a brick and mortar store as well, and they have their hours there. Okay, let's take a look at their fabric selection. Fabric, it seems to be listed by quilting cotton, pre-cuts, panels, backings, cottons, fireside, batiks, canvas, laminate, gauze, flannels. Okay, so they have more than just quilting cotton. Let's check out the quilting cotton, however, since that's what we're most interested in. Ooh, that's very pretty. I like that. And that too. And oh, I like these ones right up at the front. Now, I just got done saying a week ago that I haven't seen anything that really captures my interest, but these ones do. Little on the pricey side, your upper end, $21.90 a meter, $22.50 a meter. Ooh, but I see more here that I like. Yes, and these are nice too. Yeah, definitely worth exploring further, and they have 1,207 items, so that's a good selection of fabrics. And the price, though, is a little bit on the higher end, but we'll check out shipping on top of that and see if they have any deals. But meanwhile, the way they have it organized, we have browse quilting cotton by color, and then there's just explore, and that doesn't do anything. So, okay, let's take a look at pre-cuts and see what they have to offer. Yeah, I'm a little confused, I guess. Oh, that's felt. Okay. Yeah, they don't really have a big selection in pre-cuts, which is not unusual with online stores. A lot of them are like that. They do have panels, if you're into panels. Oh, some interesting panels. I like this one, Full Moon Rising. That's cool. I'm not a big panel person, although, oh, they've got gnomes. Of course, you know that how I love gnomes, and the Christmas panels are nice too. They've got, oh, that's nice. Oh, Canada 8 Glorious panel. That's cool. That would make a great, probably Quilt of Valor kind of thing. And they have 91 panels to choose from. That one's cool too, the Haunted Village panel. I may have to come back here and do some shopping. Okay, so let's take a look at their backings. 108 inches, $28.50, $23.90, $24.90, various prices. Kind of middle of the road. Well, that one's expensive. So the prices are kind of all over the place, but they do have a really good selection, 36 to choose from. That's not bad. Okay, what else? Batiks. Out of curiosity, what are the prices on batiks? $21.50 a meter. That's still higher than I pay here at my local quilt store. But again, batiks do tend to be a little bit on the pricey side. And again, they have about 100 of them to choose from. So good selection overall, with the exception of
cuts. They have a really good selection of fabrics. Okay, let's take a look at their patterns. They have a couple of freebies. Have a pattern sale, quilt and pillow. Not a lot to choose from in patterns. Notions, let's check out their thread. They do have aura fill, but they're on the small spools. They do have some of the larger spools too. Yeah, and it's $15.49 for a larger spool, which is actually pretty good because I see it as high as $17.99, $18.99 Canadian. So that's a good price. They do have a note here. Shipping thread costs us at a minimum $15. And while we would love to ship you that perfect color of thread on us, we just can't afford to pay more in shipping than the item costs. We hope you understand. We considered removing this from the online store, but want to make it available. So it's a $10 flat rate shipping for thread. So you want to make it worth your effort. That's not bad. $10 flat rate for all notions, it says. So you could fill up your cart for $10, no problem. Okay, they do have rulers, cutters, needles, and pens, the usual collections. Let's check out their holiday, Christmas holiday. Okay. They probably get, well, they don't have a bad selection. It's pretty standard, but there's 112 of it. And let's go back in collections and look at the O Canada collection, because that's by Northcott, and I love it. There's that panel I love. They don't have a huge selection. 22 it says, $18.90 a meter. Prices vary, so they have some. It's not a very full collection. Okay, let's take a look at what their shipping is. Let's see. I'm looking here. They talked about the thread. We know things are a little topsy-turvy these days when it comes to shopping, or pretty much anything, which is why we're happy to offer free shipping for any basic cotton 42, 45-inch fabric order totaling more than $79 before taxes. Well, that's pretty good. But then they have other things too, depending on what you're buying and how much of it, I guess. And it looks like it's all being shipped by Canada Post. So you may want to go in. This looks fairly detailed. So you may want to go in before you order something and check this out to make sure you're getting the best price you can on shipping. And then they have something called Pick of the Week. And I guess these are the things they have on sale. And yeah, nothing there is grabbing me, but maybe something there would grab you. Okay. Oh, clearance. They have a clearance section as well. Yeah, I can see why most of this, at least according to my aesthetic, why this is on clearance. Okay, I'm going to just say it. It's ugly. But anyways, what's ugly to me may be beautiful to somebody else. All right, so, oh, they have classes. Well, they have quilt retreats. And they give you all the information there. It looks like they run them on a regular basis. Yeah, they've got a lot. So anyway, it doesn't look though like they have classes per se. That was under classes. Maybe sometimes they do. Anyways, they do have lots of quilt retreats if you're in the area. Okay, so I would definitely return to this one because I saw some fabrics that I'm really interested in. And prices on a little bit high, but shipping seems to be not too bad. Free shipping over $79 it looked like, on at least on cotton fabric. So that's okay. All right, so that's Willow Creek Quilts. You may want to check it out.
Okay, so that brings me to the end of this very long episode. So you may have been thinking about getting a third cup of coffee. And by now, you've probably finished an entire quilt if you were sewing along while you're listening to me. But anyways, it comes to the end. We are at the end of this episode. And coming up, just a reminder, Pop-Up Sew Day this Saturday. May the 25th. Link is in the show notes below. Hope to see many of you there to keep me company because, as I said, Walter will not be there. In fact, I don't think I said that. I think I started to say that and I went right off the track. Walter is going off on his own in-person sew day to sew with his garment sewing buddies. So he won't be here for it. Another reason why I'm having it next Saturday. I'll feel lonely. So you're here. I want you to come keep me company. Yeah. Okay. Have a great week. See you soon. Bye for now.